What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing? Welcome to Jake Richardson's Coaching Corner, Season 2, Episode 25. The topic of the day is why you should never make excuses for criminals. To open, in America, semi over the world, in the state I live in, California, crime has been at an all-time high. People are stealing more, people are robbing more, people are breaking into cars, breaking into houses, breaking into stores, and just taking and taking and taking. Because COVID has made people very scared, very broke, very hungry. And also, a lot of laws in these governing states and these cities are becoming more and more lax to where crime is happening at a ridiculous high. And I feel like there should be an episode to talk about it to help you not feel so bad or help you feel more justified when it comes to sticking up for yourself and not conforming to society telling you need to help people or it's okay that they're breaking in. Fuck that shit. None of that shit is okay. If you're working hard for your belongings and people are trying to take them from you or people are trying to make it harder for you to live, then fuck those people and we need to talk about it and get this off our chest. We need to tell Wokeville to shut the fuck up, and this is just reality. So what's been happening? One, the major chain Walgreens just this year or just within the past couple years made it to where anything under $950 that you have stolen is a misdemeanor. So back in the day it used to be $500 and now they bumped it to $950. Seems like the worst time in history when there's a pandemic going on and people are losing their jobs and people are becoming more and more desperate to up the theft percentage dollar-wise so you don't get a felony or so you can get a slap on the wrist to $950. We're living in a time where a lot of things that are being passed or being pushed as norms are backwards as fuck. And this one has to be the most shocking. That you could walk into a Walgreens with duffel bags. And how do I know this? I had family members that used to walk at work at Walgreens that would tell me people would come in with duffel bags. In front of the workers, in front of the customers, take those duffel bags and just jam a bunch of shit off the shelves into it to the point where it accumulates to $850, $900. Then they bag them, walk right out. Can't touch them, can't do anything to get a hold of them and get them arrested and just walk right the fuck out. How the fuck is this something that is normalized or looked at as being okay and we just wash our hands with it? What it shows me is there's a lot of things happening in the higher ups. With COVID happening, with pandemics, and we've been told to stay inside, it's funny that the stores that we actually go outside and go to are now being ransacked. And now on TV, they're pushing stay at home, order your groceries at home, order your supplies at home. That seems very interesting to me that we'd ransack the places where we'd go to buy these things at. So you're forced to stay home and buy them at home so you never leave your house. Very interesting. Who knows if that is accurate or not, but that was an assumption I got from it. Number two, robbery has 4 or 5x'd within the past two years. And that is on the very low side of things. Robbery, crime, breaking and entries, all these things have 4 or 5x within 2 years. What that is telling me is either people are becoming more desperate or the already desperate are seeing a lot more sheep that they think they can get a hold of, steal from, and just get away with it, with laws being more lax and with people kind of having their hands tied behind their back because they can't take matters in their own hands. Because if you do, that's the wildest part. Somebody can try to break into your car, or break into your house, or break into your local store, and if you beat the shit out of them too hard or you hurt them, you can get in trouble. So you're defending this store, you're defending your place, you're defending your car. And if it gets too far out of hand, while these people are already up the ante by making it extremely out of hand, you are somebody that can get in trouble over the person that was actually trying to hurt you or steal your belongings. So very backwards. And showing within the times, people don't know overall what to do. In my opinion, the overall masses are scared, stupid, and kind of roll with everything because they don't know how to defend themselves or take matters into their own hands. There's a very small niche of people that are actually able, in situations like this, to take matters into their own hands and feel 100% okay with it. So as robberies increase, as breaking and entries increase, as your car getting broken into increase, as stores getting broken into increase, there's going to be a lot more victims and a lot less heroes. And I feel like the world needs a lot more individual heroes. A lot of people would say, yeah, but if you're trying to be a hero, you can get shot or you can get stabbed. Hey, guess what, motherfucker? You're getting shot and stabbed regardless is if you're stopping somebody or if you're just standing around. So you might as well just try to stop, help. Obviously, it says if there's people showing up with AKs and there's 10 of them and one of you, don't be a hero. But if there's a situation where you could step in and not just be a bystander and not just watch or not just pull your phone out, be a fucking grown man or a grown woman and stick up for somebody, say something, do something, but don't just sit around, especially with crime being that high. 3, homeless have become bolder and bolder. These bums out here are acting like you are impeding on their life. I see every corner some shanty motherfucker that is bullshitting with a sign saying my house burned down and the fire is all the way this way and that way. And then you ask them, oh, where you live? They had no clue the actual cities that were going through fires. So there's a lot of shadiness on that side. Also, a lot more homeless. The issue with homeless people is they embody what they are, but they don't really live what they are. It's almost like the Grinch from The Grinch That Stole Christmas. Everybody's scared of the silhouette, but the person within themselves has the same issues as everybody else, has the same insecurities as everybody else. But since the people are so afraid of the silhouette, they don't even dive in to know that it's just a human being. Homeless and bums are the same exact way. You just see the silhouette, and when they scowl or they yell or they start talking to themselves, you grab your kids or you grab your significant other, you take off the other way. They feed on that shit. What you need to do is stand your fucking ground and either tell them what the fuck are you looking at, or hey, motherfucker, get the fuck out of here and stop talking to yourself and go talk to yourself in a bathroom somewhere. But don't allow them to become bigger and bigger than what they really are. A bum or a crackhead is not scary at all because their bodies are so brittle from their lack of nutrients, or the crack that they put in their body makes them brittle as motherfuckers. So just know physically, they ain't shit. You could take an open hand and slap them and they might cut in half. So I wouldn't really worry too much about them, and I think that you shouldn't allow them to act so unruly. Some homeless will walk around half naked. Some will pull their shit out and pee right in front of your kids. Some will talk to you kind of reckless. Some will try to run up on you in a restaurant and ask to have half of your fucking food. They're getting so out of hand because cops got their hands tied behind their back. Your local governments are allowing them to just run rampant. What you need to do is just, like I said, don't go over the top. Don't think you gotta beat every single one of them up. But don't allow anybody to ever talk to you wild. That goes for regular people or fucking loopy ass motherfuckers like a bunch of bums and crackheads. Stand your ground and don't take shit from nobody, no matter what. And if you could do that, you could set the world back into the right place. If you let people get away with something enough times, they will digest it as the norm and they will live in that world. If you set the tone one fucking time, people get put right back into their place and they work in that rhythm, in that space, in that place. But don't allow people to get too wild. That goes for anybody, but especially if some crackheads run up on you trying to punk you. Punk that motherfucker right back, put him right back in his place, and go about your day. You ain't got to beat nobody up, but you do need to check people every so often. What else is happening? This one is the wildest one. There are now flash mobs that are breaking into major stores and causing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of theft. Mainly, San Francisco, just a stone's throw away from where I'm at, they had 80 people choreograph a break-in at Louis Vuitton and at Nordstrom's. Two places very close to each other within San Francisco. 80 people, 40 in one, 40 in the other. Flash mob, run through, break everything, steal everything. Hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of theft. And 5 people got caught. And once they got caught and they got put in jail, they got released within 5 days with a slap on the wrist. That sets a horrible tone. Don't think that there's only 80 criminals in your local city. There's a lot more. And there's a lot of normal ass people. You let them get away with some shit, they'll get away with some shit too. Because we're naturally greedy human beings. If we're not set in our place, we'll keep taking from the cookie jar until the cookie jar is empty. Then we'll try to sell the cookie jar, get some money, and then do some other shit with it. So there's a lot that ends up happening when you give human beings too much leeway. And this is becoming too much leeway. Where if you're not cracking down on these people, then the economic structure is going to get broken. And that's why, to me, it almost looks like the economic structure is purposely being broken. I don't want to get into conspiracies, but you can see where I'm thinking in that direction. When there is a flash mob of a shitload of people taking that much stuff, that doesn't just go. Louis Vuitton doesn't just eat that. Nordstrom's doesn't just eat that loss. That money gets taken from somewhere. Usually gets taken from taxpayers. So all this theft ends up coming out of your pocket at the end of the day. So those are 4 big ones that have been happening lately. And this is just in my neck of the woods. I've heard all over the country this is happening. More often than not, in bluer states this is happening. I'm not a political guy by any means, but I could catch a rhythm and see what the fuck is happening and see which states have the lighter laws that allow criminals to get away with fucking murder, hypothetically and literally. And it's not a coincidence, they all got the same color. So, besides that, what have the individual sheep done? So we've seen what the criminals are doing. What are the sheep doing? The sheep are the 99.5% of people on this planet. That means the people that go with whatever the news is saying, the people that roll with whatever the crowd is doing, the people that don't really think for themselves, but they think more in this group sheep setting where they're in a pen and just waiting to either get shaved or get slaughtered. What are they doing? They make excuses for criminals. They're the ones that say the wildest things. They say shit like they are less fortunate, so it's okay. What the fuck kind of stupid shit is that? If that's the case, then everybody that feels that way, put your address on Craigslist and say, if you're misfortunate, here's my address. Either I'll leave the door open and you can walk right through and take whatever you want, or you can knock on my door and I'll let you in one by one and you can take whatever you feel like, because you're less fortunate, so you deserve it. But don't go out there, or don't go and say they're less fortunate, they deserve it, when they're taking somebody else's shit. If they're taking your shit and that's what you say, all the power to you. But when they're taking somebody else's shit and you're trying to make an excuse and say they're less fortunate, they need it, then you're a fucking retard, because you're sitting there in your ivory tower speaking while people on the rubble floors are the ones feeling it. So that's one thing that I hear. They always say they're less fortunate, they need it. Another thing is They say they'll sell the products to make money to support their kids. Do you live in their neighborhoods? Do you know who these people are? If you don't, then don't ever speak on what they're doing with the money. Because unless you know firsthand, all you're doing is assuming. And when you assume more often than not, you end up playing yourself the fuck out. And in this instance, you will very much so be playing yourself the fuck out. Because me personally, I grew up in neighborhoods where motherfuckers like this would steal and bring the shit back to. And I will tell you right now, they do not get that money and spend it on their kids. They get that money, they spend it on whatever drugs they're into. They get that money, they blow it on some stupid ass car. They blow it on some stupid ass car. They spend it on themselves. When you're going that far out of your way to do something super illegal, you're not doing it for your kids. If you were doing shit for your kids, you get a 9-to-5 job. Because that 9-to-5 job will keep you safe and keep you alive way longer so you can be there for your kids than if you're playing this fast game. Because this fast game more often than not gets you killed. So your kids grow up without you. So you're doing your kids a disservice. So you as an individual thinking that's okay that they're doing these criminal acts to help their kids out, you're actually a huge reason why these kids grow up without a father, grow up without a mother. So don't ever use that stupid ass excuse that they're going to take the money that they off the stolen products and put it towards their kids. That one is the one that kills me the most. Another thing that sheep say, they need it more than us. Once again, if they need things more than you, put your address on Craigslist. Say, if you're misfortunate, come to my address, open the door, let them take shit. Because they need it more than you do. But once again, if you're speaking on somebody else's shit, somebody else's hard-earned, when people's businesses are getting broken into and their life is getting taken away from them, don't ever say that somebody else needs it more than that person. That person right there is the one trying to do the right thing to make money for their kids, to make money for their future in their family. So if there's one person that you should feel for, it should be the business owners. It should be the person that owns the car, that owns the house that got robbed, that now is taking 5 steps back, 10 steps back, that also takes 10 steps, 20 steps from their kids. Those are the people you should worry about. But we live in this backwards world where somehow the criminal is the hero or the criminal is the victim. Now you gotta switch that shit the fuck up. And then, like I said, there was a whole bunch of that. And then the needed part, those excuses just run dry real quick. If you live in Yuppieville, if you live in a place where none of these criminals live, by all means, you could have any thought process. You can think any way that you want. But you would never move to those neighborhoods. You would never hang around those people with all the trust in the world. So if that's the case, don't ever speak on shit that you don't really know about. And then, where are we at? What have they also done to help criminals? So we're going into what sheep say. Now we're actually going into what sheep do. The first one is the newest one that I've never seen until just now. It's yuppies and dorks are keeping their doors unlocked or keeping their doors open or keeping their trunks open to avoid getting their windows broken. That is the most passive aggressive sheep upside down shit I've ever seen in my life. Because do you think that somebody that's going to break your window that sees nothing in your car to begin with, if you have no tinted windows and they can see directly in your car and they don't see anything and they smash your window anyways, you think that person gives a fuck if your door is open or gives a fuck if your back trunk is open? No. Now what they're going to do is jack your radio. So they're going to see all these doors open. They're going to jack your radio. They're going to jack your steering wheel. They're going to, whatever's on the inside of this car, they'll just sit there and jack that shit because you just made it way easier for them. When you break a window, alarms go off. When you break a window, a huge noise goes off. So then they have to grab and run because they think people will come out. When the shit is wide open, very quiet. They'll have 3 guys looking out and you'll wake up with your car on bricks. So doing that one makes no sense on the planet, and you'll be inviting other things to get in your car. Animals, crackheads that will destroy your car. So you're doing this passive aggressive tail up between your legs shit instead of tackling the issue. How about get some fucking pay a little extra money, get some windows that motherfuckers can't break. So when they go to hit it or they go to punch it, they break their hand instead of breaking your window. Or how about you fucking beat the fuck out of a motherfucker? Next time you see somebody trying to break into a car, beat the shit out of them, and they'll rethink breaking into cars. But if you allow them to get away with stuff like this, it's just gonna keep getting worse and worse and worse. So that was the first one I saw. The second is they vote on laws to make charges lighter. So your neighborhood government, your city government, your state government is making laws lighter and lighter and lighter for major offenses. Breaking into a car back in the day used to be a huge offense if you got caught. Just 5, 6, 7 years ago, it got turned into a misdemeanor. What happens when you turn into a misdemeanor? Everybody gets their cars broken into. Do you think that's accidental? What is happening through that? Are you trying to make the job easier on cops, but then harder on human beings? Where with cops, half these motherfuckers ain't doing shit anyways. So you should be on top of people creating or doing small petty crime, because that just leads into big crime. When you let people get away with petty crime, they get confident. Then when people get confident, they start doing bigger and bigger crimes. So if you stop it early, the big crimes don't happen as much. But if you're letting petty crime get swept under the rug, then it's a date for the disaster. So yuppies and sheep tend to vote lighter on these charges, lighter on these crimes, thinking that'll be a good thing and you'll be helping people out. But once again, you don't live in the dirt. You live up in the trees. It's easy for a squirrel to tell a deer to look out for a mountain lion when he's sitting all the way up in the tree, but the deer's on the fucking floor, can't see him. There's a whole forest right there. Can't see what direction he's coming from. It's the same thing with this. Is when you're sitting there trying to tell people that live on the floor to go this way, that way, or do this, it's safer doing it that way. You're saying from a very disadvantaged viewpoint. So that's one I'm not really big into, is this whole voting process and how yuppies just allow stupid ass shit to happen. And then also, when it happens to you, when it happens to the sheep, when it happens to this yuppie individual, y'all tend to curl up and play dead real fast and just give people whatever the fuck they want. Like I said, if you don't stick up for yourself, you create the beast, you build the beast, which is this human being, and they will keep going and keep going and keep going until one of two things happen. Either until one day they get killed because they run into the wrong motherfucker, or number two, they kill somebody. Unless you would have seen them at an earlier stage when they weren't that desperate, they weren't going that hard, and you could have stood up for yourself, stood up for your family, and shut it down right away. These laws that you're allowing to just be swept under the rug, be a little more stringent so people second guess. If I'm breaking into a car and I can do 5 years, I'm going to second guess that. If I'm breaking into a car and it's a slap on the wrist, I will keep breaking into cars until they change the laws. So, very dumb way of thinking, but I see that all the time as they just curl up, they allow you to do whatever, and it's just a bad way of thinking. What should you do? First, stick up for yourself. Simple, easy. You don't have to be Mike Tyson, you don't have to be Bruce Lee, but stick up for yourself. Have a taser, have mace, go take a boxing class, go have a knife on you, have a little pistol on your side. Do something to intimidate or stop somebody in their tracks when they're trying to run up on you, when they try breaking your car, when they try breaking into your house. Deterrents tend to freeze people, but if you're somebody that is not having any of those deterrents and you think the world is just going to take care of itself, the world will probably not take care of you and take care of the shitty person that you think would never do this to you. So sticking up for yourself is huge. If it's saying something, if it's doing something, if it's gathering together and fighting a force head on, just don't stand around. Just don't look like an idiot. Just don't pull your phone out. Actually be a human being and actually put your body into action so good things can come from it. And you stop bad things from happening. That's all this is good versus bad. If you need to take somebody's things by force, by hurting somebody, you're a bad individual. You should not get leniency at all. If you're somebody that sees this and you believe that and you put a foot in somebody's ass because they're bad, that is the good vanquishing the bad. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I don't give a fuck who disagrees or agrees with me on that one. Number 2, not giving money, clothes, food, etc., etc., etc. Stop giving motherfuckers that ain't doing shit money, food, clothes. I'm pretty sure in your overall friend group, your overall family group, there are individuals that could use that money, clothes, and food way more than your bum who's lying to you. That's actually just some dope fiend that has a sign that says this happened or that happened when that really didn't happen, and all this manipulation. So unless your circle is 100% solid, you should not be giving anything to anyone that's outside of that circle. And that's the point, arrow hitting the fucking bullseye on that one, is don't give them shit no more. Because when you don't give people things, they have to learn dependency or independency or independence. Fucking got caught up on that one. They need to learn independence, and when people learn independence, they end up growing. But when you keep giving somebody something, it'd be like having a kid. And allowance, you've been giving him allowance since he was 15. And then now at 16, he has to go get a job. If you don't allow him to get that job, you keep giving him allowance, you'll have a very dependent, weak individual hanging on your fucking titty the whole time. But if you say, hey, no more money coming from me, you gotta go get a job now. They learn so many skills and they appreciate $1 more. Why do we not treat our homeless the same exact way? They're gonna sit there and guilt. You don't owe them. You don't owe them shit. You owe your family. You owe your friends. You owe the people around you, if anybody. So think about that. And then hold your local governments more accountable. Vote correctly on these laws. Make sure that people are doing major crimes are getting put in jail the way they should be put in jail. Don't be Mr. Wokeville allowing kids to get killed, allowing bystanders to be hurt because you want to be cool guy and think that you're hip on the times. Fuck that shit. If you're a fucking criminal, I don't give a fuck how old you are. I don't give a fuck what color you are. You deserve to get the time that you're putting into your crimes. So fuck all that shit. And then the last one is implement a little of what I love the most. It's called street justice. When your cops, when your governments, when sheep aren't aligning with you, sometimes you gotta take matters in your own hands. And when people are getting to our line or people are doing shit that's very aggressive, it's okay to put foot to ass, put knuckle to jaw, and even them the fuck out. You ain't gotta kill nobody. You don't gotta severely damage anybody. You can minorly damage somebody and really beat the shit out of them. But you gotta set the tone. Because when you set the tone on anybody or anything, man, woman, child, animal, in various ways, don't go too aggressive, but there's tone setting that happens with with all of them. If it ain't a smack on the butt, or if it ain't a aggressive tone, if it's not a punch to the face when it comes to evil people, it's all relative. You get the tone checked, people get put back in line, and then the world works correctly. So if somebody is robbing, stealing, trying to hurt, trying to kill, my best advice, if nobody's going to help you when it comes to justice, implement a little street justice. It goes a long way, and it worked great for Batman, so it could work good for you as well. With that being said, that is the end of this rant. I hope it gave you some clarity. It was very aggressive, but I really don't like bad people trying to take advantage of good people. if you're trying to take advantage of evil corporations or whatever, you guys do your battle with yourselves. But when you're taking advantage of people that have worked hard for what they've gotten and want to keep it, then I think that you're somebody that should either go to jail or get your ass beat. And those are simple, easy things. But for you individually, take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your circle. Make sure that they're running on 100%. If your circle is not running on 100, don't put your focus anywhere else. Make sure you're telling your circle that you love them. Give them some hugs. Reach out to people because life is too short. And we tend to do that when it's already too late. So do not do that. Do it now. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your friends. And have a great day. That's all I got for y'all. Till next time. Peace.